Hey everybody, I'm KK.
I'm Kristen.
Together we are.
KK Crochet.
And this is the introduction of a new series that we're going to call Stitch and Dish. Stitch and Dish is where we're going to make hats and then talk about the stitch that we use, hopefully using a stitch that we haven't used before or one that we've used and we want to practice more. And it's not a pattern. I don't write patterns. You can think of it as a recipe, I guess. It's a very basic recipe. It would be like your mama's cake recipe, really simple, or her favorite cookie recipe, very simple, and then you can add whatever you want to it, right? So you can take a little of this and a little of that and throw it in, and then you can add your own spices to it and mix it up and do what you want, or your own stitches. So I'm just going to tell you that I plan that these hats are all going to start with the basic increase, which for me is not what everybody else does. Some of you do it, some of you don't. It is the same basic concept. It depends on how many double crochets you start with. So I have for a very long time started with 10 double crochet and a magic ring. And I actually do a double magic ring. If you don't know how to do that, look up double magic loop or double magic circle, because to me it gives it a stronger connection. And then I just usually snip it off and don't weave the tail in because it's already in there twice, circled around. And sometimes I will, depending on the strength of the yarn, like the thickness, or if it's real thin, and I may weave it in. But anyway, so I start with 10 double crochet, then I put 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets in the next round to give you 20 stitches. Then I do 2 double crochet in the first stitch, 1 in the next stitch, alternating all the way around for the third row for 30 stitches. For the fourth row, you put 2 double crochets in the first double crochet and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2, and you alternate that pattern all the way around for 40 stitches. For the fifth round, it is 1 double, goodness gracious, 2 double crochets in the first stitch, this is why I don't do tutorials, and then 1 in each of the next 3, so that gives you 50 stitches if you repeat that all the way around. And for the final increase, you do 2 double crochets in the first stitch and 1 in each of the next 4. So that gives you 60 stitches when you repeat that around. And it gives you a top that looks like this. And then this one is a basic hat. This is the basic hat I do all the time. The rest of the rows are double crochet as far as I want them to go. And then I switch up how many rows I want to do of this, which is front post, back post, double crochet. And it depends on a lot of things. It depends on if I get to looking at the hat and I'm sick of doing it. A lot of times I'll skip to the front post, back post, double crochet out of boredom and want to get the hat finished and think, well, I need something else to break up the boredom, so I'll do that because I like to do front post, back post, and I would have said 3 years ago that I hate it. So keep working with your stitches. You'll learn to love them, I promise. And I like the pattern it makes. Other times I want a shorter brim and I want more of the hat to show, like the stitching to show. So this is just a basic one. And this was donated yarn. This was donated by Gabrielle she has several channels. I know one, I think it's Yarn Inspired, and then there's Garden of the Scrolls, and I think there's another one, I'm not sure. So this was, I'll link her below. This was donated yarn by her. So, yep, and I wanted to make hats with that. And so there's one. This was not donated. This was some I had, but I made a blue one too. And I really don't know why. I think one day I was just sitting there and I was thinking about our hat goal, and I thought, or my personal one and our one for the channel. And so I thought I'll go ahead and make another one. And I like blue. So there's another plain one. All right, so then this one, let me pick one here. We'll start with this one. So this is the Stitch and Dish. Sorry, we had a clarification there. So anyway, here's another one. Now, this is the Stitch and Dish. So I'm going to tell you about the stitch I used. I did the basic increases, and then I did a different stitch at the bottom all the way around. And sometimes I'll do the same stitch all the way to the bottom. And sometimes you may find, because I've got a couple done up, I know that I get fed up with it and think that's not a stitch I'm going to like to do, and I quit. And so I do something different. So this one is half double crochet in the third loop, and I love the way it feels. It's squishy. It kind of looks like a bumblebee hive if you did it, And so I really like this stitch. I have used this stitch before in a hat for just a couple of rounds. And I liked the stitch, but I hated the process when I first did it. So I wanted to do it in a hat so that I could have some practice more working on it. I really need to practice when you get to the seam. I know that looks kind of bad, but it is what it is. We have that problem sometimes, right? And part of that probably is, well, one, you're switching over and going into that first loop, and two, probably the way I start my chains. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's okay, right? It's all right. You think? Mm-hmm. So I really like the way this feels. I think this would be awesome in a scarf to do half double crochet in the third loop. And look, if you turn it the other way, can you see the little zigzag lines? Isn't that pretty? Mm-hmm. If you just look far away, you can't really tell, but if you get up close, I love that stitch. I think that's beautiful that way too. I'd almost like to do it that way. It's so scrunchy. Just squishy. I love it. So that's another concept, you could do, and the line doesn't show as bad that way either. But anyway, yep. So that's your stitch and dish for today. Half double crochet in a third loop is, when I got to the bottom, I did do a round of single crochet instead of the normal burn that we do just to finish it up. So half double crochet in the third loop. I need one where I can show you. But if you look at a stitch that is a half double crochet, there's a V, anytime you're crocheting, there's a V across the top of your crochet, right? Like this. See the V across the top? So, this is not, this actually is a half double crochet. Hold on. Get up here where you can see. So this is another hat that you'll see later that I did that has a half double crochet at the bottom, but I'm just going to show you. There's the V across the top. You're looking at your half double crochet right there. There's your V across the top. If you bend it back just a little bit, let me see. Nope, I got to come towards me. There's your V, and if you bend it back, you can see this little bar right here. See that bar? Let me do I have a crochet hook over there? So I can show you where it's at, because this was the hardest part for me, was finding it. So as you're looking at it, this is your half double crochet, and you see this is your normal V right there. See there? Okay, so if you bend it back towards you, this is not there is a V, and when you bend it back towards you, there is another stitch. Hold on. I can't do it because I'm trying to do it backwards.
Let me see it. That right. Whoops, pick it up. Give it.
Yeah.
That's the third loop, right?
Where? Yep.
Okay.
Kristen doesn't shake like I do.
The V's, and then you pull it back. And right, there.
That's your third loop. And when you do that, when you make that half double crochet in the third loop, give me that hat back. When you make it like that, then it pops your stitches up. And your V's come up where you can see them like that. So I just really like that. I think it's a pretty texture. Like I said, it's very squishy. It makes for a more dense hat. Like you're going to get more coverage because you can see through there. You got the stitch under and on top. So it makes just a more dense hat, and I really like this. It does take a while longer. And I wasn't very patient at first when I first started working with this kind of stuff and doing half double crochet in the third loop. But I'm a little more patient now, and I think it is, it's doable. Or maybe you just want to pop a line in every once in a while. I will say, I think it looks better when you do at least 3 rows, because then you get the lines. Because, the last row that you don't do doesn't pop like that quite as much. So, I just really think it's a pretty hat, a pretty stitch.
It is. I really like it.
So that's the dish about the half double crochet in the third loop, and hopefully, through me trying to show you, I know that's like I said, that's why I don't do tutorials, but I'm just trying to show you that you can do it, and it is easy to find that half double crochet in the third loop. Once you get started and you start working in it, you'll find it. The first one of the row is usually a little more difficult to find, but once you do that, it's smooth sailing, and your hook just kind of gravitates to that point. After a couple of rows of that, you just get used to where it's at, and you do find, that it gets easier with time, I think, and I like the way it turns out. So that's all we have for today. So let us know what you think about half double crochet in a third loop. Have you ever used it? Have you ever used it in a hat? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I mean, it's not going to offend us either way. I just want to know what you think. Everybody's different, and look forward to more Stitch and Dish, and hopefully I don't have to. The other ones I think are easier to explain. It's hard to explain half double crochet in a third loop because you need to be able to see it. And like I said, we don't do tutorials because I don't have the equipment for that. And even if I did, it's not something I want to do. It's not me. So, but there are lots of tutorials out there for half double crochet in the third loop all over YouTube. I'm sure you'll find them. And try it. Just try it. If you never tried it, try it. Especially if you're looking for a fabric that is squishy but still very dense, and it's going to give you a lot of warmth. It's worth it. That's all we have for today. Don't forget to be kind because
you don't know anybody else's journey.
Bye.